Hello, this is a walkthrough of the Diet Tracker application that I built for the Rails project assignment for the Left Flatiron School and the Learn Online Full Stack Web Development Program. So I'm going to go through the application and show how it works, show some of the code, show the schema of the database, some of the functionality, and then go through some code of various issues I've dealt with in doing the program, and then probably review the requirements that the assignment had to show how I've accomplished those requirements in this application. So let's get started. As you can see, I've already got the server started here. This is the home page, and basically it's home, sign up, sign in. You can sign in through Facebook with this application, and I've just got some static quotes up the front here, and I also have a little quote generator I'll go through later. I'll clear that out, and we'll get into that later in terms of how that works. So to sign in, just go here. You can sign in with Facebook. Do that, and then this flash messages come up to show you who's logged in and whether you're a standard user or an admin. Along the top, these links change based on the fact that now I'm signed in. So now I have sign out, and I can see the different diets. And the whole application is about, what are you eating, what diet are you on, and what foods you're eating, what meals, recording your meals, recording logs of your experiences trying to follow a certain diet. And then there are some stats that show up for different users. So if everybody's on the same diet, like you and I are both on the vegetarian diet, we can see how our group is doing in terms of calories we've eaten over how many meals and average calories per meal. So if you go out and eat 4 cheeseburgers on a given evening and screw up all the stats, I'll know. And so anyway, that's the idea of the content management system here or content management system for diets. So logged in now, I can go to my user account, and this is usually where most of the action happens. My name, my email, my weight, my the diet that I'm currently on. I can create a new log and say today it's Friday. Save that log. If I go to make a new log and I don't write anything, I get an error. So that was a requirement in the lab. Back to my user account, I can go and make a new. So I can make this bigger. New meal. This is a nested form that shows that a user has many meals and many foods through meals. So in this form, I can choose the date. So today is the 10th, and I can choose from existing foods and see what, okay, here's what I had for breakfast. And I had, 13 of those. And I can put a note for those. And for lunch, I had something else. Let's say I had 11 of those. And then for dinner, I had something different. I had cheeseburger, fried tomatoes, something I'm just making up. And I had one of those, new food. And so I update user. What happens is those meals that I had with existing foods get saved, and then the new food that I just created is now part of the foods list. So if I go up here to foods, I should see at the bottom, cheeseburger, fried tomatoes, the thing I just made. And notice it doesn't have a group right now. These food groups are the basic ones, dairy, vegetables, different food groups. So I can create a food without choosing a group. If I want to go in and edit this, I think as a user I can't. Let's see. That's right. An admin can come in and reassign new foods that I've made as a standard user and assign them into one of the food groups. And I can look at, as a user, I can view all the foods. I can view all the food groups, and I can see different diets. These diets and stats shows these are the current diets in the system. There are 10 of them. Only an admin can create a new diet and a new group if we want to. The stats down here show the various groups. So of all the users that are on the vegan diet, they've had 665 calories as a group over 8 meals, and that means an average of 83 calories per meal. And this is accomplished with the use of scoped resources, and I'll get into that later when we look at some of the code. Let's see, what else? If a diet gets deleted, it defaults to this diet deleted, please choose a new diet, so that we don't end up with nil values in our database. And it resets everybody who was, if we, for example, we decided to delete the fishitarian diet, all of those people, their diet ID would be reset to number 10 here, so that we would know, an admin would know to come in and reassign those people to the new diets. As opposed to choose a diet, which is if I log out and come in as a new user, let's sign up as a new person here. And I'm going to be Charlie, Jazz at ABC, password. Default weight is 500. And let's say I don't choose a diet upon sign up. I can still sign up on the site. Oh, looks like I left a binding pry in here. Let's fix that. Good example. I was messing around with this issue with the edit form earlier. I'll fix that right now. Exit out of that, and that should let me continue. So Charlie, you just signed up. Now I can sign in. And that was Chaz at abc.com, password. And now I'm in as Charlie, the new user. And if I go to my user account, I don't have any meals or logs yet. So all my logs and meals are put here as I create them. And notice that because my diet is not been chosen, I get prompted with this little flash message. So I can go here to choose a diet, which is basically the edit user page. And you have to put my password in there. And let's say I'm going to be the carnivore diet. I'll update user. And now you'll see that my show page has my carnivore diet choice there. I can make a new log. Let's figure that out. We'll figure this out now. I must have... Why is that? Didn't I just make a log? For some reason, current user is not being populated. Charlie's not logged in. Oh, I know what happened. There is a little bit of a bug here. When I go in and edit my cell, edit my page, it logs me out. So if I edit myself again, let's have to go to the junk diet. I'm actually logged out here. I refresh this. Yeah. Which is why when I tried to make a new log, it puked on me. I'll have to fix that. So I'll go in here and make a new log. Now that I'm signed in, it should let me do it. Week. That's working good. Let's make a new meal. We'll choose existing foods. That's cool. New log, if I tried to make a log in the future, and it's going to throw up and say, no, you can't be, the date can't be in the future. And also, you can't make a blank one, I think. It's all, but I'll say log. Name can't be blank. So that allows me to make that. Let's see what else. Food groups, diets and stats. That's the basic functionality of it. I can't see other people's stuff as a standard user. If I go in here and I'm user 12, I can't just go and see. Let's look at all users. It'll say, you know, user visible to admin only. Or if I were to go straight to user 11 and try to see their stuff, it's going to just point me right back to my own stuff. Even though it says right there 11, I'm actually user 12. It's not showing me that person's stuff. It's showing me my stuff. Oh, the stats down here are my personal number of meals, total calories of those meals, and average calories per meal, just with some math that's done in the application controller. What else about that? Oh, when you create a new food, you can assign how many calories to it. So if I say, you know, fried shoes, and those are really got a lot of calories, 500 calories a piece, let's say. We'll put that in the synthetics category, create that food, and go back to my user account and have a new meal. And let's say I want to have, where's going to be down the bottom, fried shoes for breakfast, and I want to have 10 of those, and say update. We'll save that meal. So now I had a meal down here of fried shoes, 500 calories, and I had 10 of them. So now my stats are up some, quite a bit, 690. And I don't know that anyone else is in the junk diet with me. So if I went over to diets, the junk diet group, sorry, my diets and stats, let's see. Yeah, I'm the only one on the junk diet right now. So these calories of 690 is all just from me. So that's how that works. Let's go and see what different stuff that a user, that an admin sees. Again, I'll go back in as a standard user just to show. Standard user sees their name up here in lights. They can see foods, they can add a food, they can see groups, they can see stats, but they can't edit diets or food groups. And I believe they can currently, let's see, I don't know if they can edit it. Did I make it that way? So we're on the milk show page. Let's see if I can edit that as a standard user. I think you probably can, but I don't really want that. Nope, sends me back to admins. That's right, I have that in the controller here. Admins only, you've been redirected to the home page. I suppose it might be useful to go through the code as to why some of this stuff's happening. But let's show the difference now if I sign in as a admin user. So Max is an admin. He gets this pink admin toolbar here. He gets to see all users and their weight and their meals and everything. He gets to see everybody's meals, meal names. This is something that only the admin can do: breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack. I didn't want to have users able to create oddball meals. So this is a pretty semi-static list. You can add a snack. I suppose in the future you could add more. Foods. Notice now this is the same list of foods, but an admin can edit and delete these. Groups. An admin can come in here and create a new group if they want. They can also look at the group here, no group chosen. So this is like a little homework. We need to edit this somebody put cashews in, and the admin can come in here now and say, okay, that belongs in the nuts, and we'll category, update that. Oh, we forgot. Let's say cashews is 100 calories. So we'll update that. So now anybody that's had cashews in a diet, the math will be updated too because this number has been updated. So that's how that works. They also see the diets and stats, and it's basically a list of all the diets or create a new diet. So let's say we wanted to create caveman diet. So now there it is, and it'll show up in our list. And then these are again all of the diet stats. Actually, interesting now, you won't see caveman diet in this list here because the diet stats are built through this these models here. And I'll just go through it real quickly. So for the vegan group, I have a vegans cows method here, and that starts from scoping the one of the requirements of the exercise was to have a named resource, have a scoped resource. So in the user model, we have this group of scoped resources. These names here are simply aliases for the actual diet. So if diet ID is number 1, it means they didn't choose the diet. We're going to call them the undieters. Diet ID number 2 is vegans, low carbers, balancers, fishitarians, carnivores. These are just different aliases for different diets. So I use those scopes to find me the groups of people that had those particular diets, and then the application controller loads those and does another thing with them. This user.groupcals. These are different methods I created. Where is it? Back to the user model. I should start here. So the scoped groups are simply everyone on the vegan diet ends up in the vegans scoped group because their diet ID is 2. So then I take each one of those and create group cals. By passing the group into this method. And there's my calories is empty array. And the group, for each user in the group, we take their meals and we take the calories from the food of that meal and push them into this cals array. And then we go over that array to sum it. So this method outputs the amount of calories that all the users consumed in their meals that belong to this group that we passed in. And we have passed in one of these scoped groups to do it in the first place. Let's see. Down here, same thing, but tells me how many meals that group of people did. And then the third one is average calories per meal. So it's pretty simple math, but it's based on those scoped resources. Then I have the same thing for user cals, average cals per meal, and number of meals. You can just simply do user.meals.count, and so I didn't have to create a method for that. So all of these get run and available to the rest of the application through the application controller. So by calling group cals, let's see. I might see group cals. Yeah. Forgot how I did this. Vegan cals equals user group cals. Meal count, average cals. Yeah, I'm sure there's probably a smarter way to do this than this is fairly crude. And I'm sure there's a way to iterate over these groups, but it does work. It's at least it's sitting in the application controller instead of cluttering up, or sitting in the, cluttering up my user model, whatever. Okay, back to our recording. I found that I was calling the model from the view, which is a no-no. And when we look at, let's get out of this for a second. It's going to go through every meal, isn't it? So here I am logged in as this user that we just created, Charlie. Okay. And what piqued my interest was that I created a meal that had 500 calories per food, and times 10 should be 5,000 total calories get added, and it wasn't happening. Since then I've fixed it, and here's where it is. In the user model, I have these methods to do the math. And I have user calories, and it goes through each of the meals of the user and creates it was basically only doing one instance of the meal when it was adding up the calories, but I want it all. So for each meal, its quantity times the food for that meal's calories equals meal cals, and then we're going to push meal cals into this cals array that we have here. Then we're going to do the math to sum it up. So let's just run that and show what's going on. Put a binding pry in there so once it runs. So if I just go back to my page here and refresh, it probably will trigger that binding pry. So I want to know, what's my cals array look like now that I've gone through this user's meals and added up all the calories. And right now it shows 120, 45, 25, and 5,000, which if I look over here, 120 times 1, 45 times 1, 25 times 1, and 500 times 10. So I'm actually getting my number now. That's what we expect. So then if we run this code, we should get this number of 5190, and that's what's showing up here in this form, in the my stats part of the view here. Problem that I've got though is that it's not a terrible sin, but I want to fix it. I shouldn't be calling this. I think I shouldn't be calling this user cals method straight from the view, and right now that's what we're doing. And here's the show page for the user, and the stats that we see. Let me move this over. These stats here are coming from here, and that's calling this partial user stats. So if we open up the user stats partial, we see that we're calling user cals and user average cals per meal, and it's kind of a debate in my mind. I mean, we're not calling the database directly, so it's not like I'm sitting here in a view going user capital user dot find. But perhaps I should be doing this math, calling this, and just revealing a variable called user cals to the view. So that maybe I should refactor this and do this work. Now, meals count, that's just that's just something, an attribute of the user model, meals, and counting that in a view. I don't know if that's a sin or not. And user weight, that's just an attribute. So, but let's just say for devil's advocacy, let's take these three things, and we're going to move them out of this view into the controller so that we're only sending a variable to the view. So right here is where that needs to happen in the show. So if let's say I want to create at meal count, and I want to create at user cals, and I want to create at user average cals per meal. And I want to once I create those, I want to come back to my view and surface them in this view. So the user.meals count, really it's not that much. It's I don't know how all it is really I'm just doing it here instead of there. Meals count equals that, and user cals equals that, and average cals per meal equals that. Oh, Robocop's not doing its job here. Well, I'm not sure. There it goes. Cool. I guess I want to do that. I want to do that last. This load diet stats last. So actually, this has to be at user now. So that's that. Now we can go back to our view and just say, what do we call it? There we go. Meals count. Oh, but we're passing now to this partial. So that means we've got to go to the show page and over here have to add these in. So it's more typing, but at least we're going through the mental math of it. Meals count. There's that one. User cals. And user average cals per meal, comma. So that's all our locals that we're passing into this partial. Doesn't all have to be on one line, but what the hell. Okay. So partial user stats, user meals count, user cal, user cals, the average user average cals per meal, user average cals per meal. Okay. So back in our view, we can now get rid of these at symbols. And since these are sitting on a table, a little formatting. Now we can get rid of these guys. So it's kind of half a dozen one way, but at least we can say we're not calling the model directly from a view, which was a no-no. And we better put our ERB tags or it won't work. Get them over here. So if we go back here and refresh, let's see, actually, we're still in this thing. Let's restart. And refresh. We'll see if it worked. And Shazam, it worked. So all we did is rename stuff, but at least we're following the Rails guides better. Okay, one more little recording we're going to do on the rest of the functionality of the application. I'm going to go back to our app here. So we did a little refactoring. We've shown how the different views work, what a user can do, what a standard user can do, what an admin can do. Now I added a couple of things at the end. So as a logged in user, I can go to my page and I can download my data. And up comes a little report of my whatever meals I've had. Same thing for admin. So if I log in as an admin can come in and see all users and export all those users' data. And what they get is a little fancier, kind of a report type of a thing. So let's zoom in here. It gives us the username, email, weight, and diet of each user. And then below that, it puts that user's meals and their logs. Then it does a little line. So pretty ugly looking report, but it is a nice way to just, show that you can do some basic reporting off of a database and a Rails app. And from what I can tell, users definitely love reports. So this is a fun feature to add. One other fun feature is on the home page, I have some quotes here, but I also have celebrity quotes. So you can generate random quotes of celebrities, and each quote has, let's just hit the button here. So what this is doing is hitting a little method called, I'll go into the, let's see, where is that thing? I even had to create models for this, I think. Yeah, I had to create quote model and a quotes controller just to create random quotes. And a quote has a celebrity, a verb like they ate or they wolfed down or something, and a food and an adjective, and that pulls the food from our list of foods, and they're on a certain diet, and then they have some witty quote that they say at the end of it. And then I have a randomizer that can jumble them all together, and you can create different ones. Let's just see, where did I put that? Somewhere in here is quote generator. I guess it's in the quote model. Yeah. So it's a pretty simple class. The quote class has a celeb, a verb, an adjective, a food, a phrase, a diet, and it validates all those things. We have a method here that says build random quotes, and A random quote is basically give me one of the celebs, choose it randomly from all the existing celebs. Same with the verbs, adjectives, foods, phrases, and diets. And then in the form for this, we'll go down to views and new. We have a form here that allows me to create a new one. Let's go back to our views here. So I can say new quote, and I can say here, let's say Ronald Reagan. Slurped a juicy hamburger, and he was on the carnivore diet. And his phrase was, well, I don't remember that. We'll create that quote. And now at the bottom of the quotes list here is Ronald Reagan slurped a juicy hamburger. Well, I don't remember that. And it creates a little, ties it together into a sentence. So it's just a fun little thing. And then you can clear the quotes out. You can generate more. Every time you hit this generate button, it generates another 5 of them. So I can generate several. Here's 15 of them now. And I can export those into a spreadsheet if I want to take them home. So that's just a fun little feature. And one other thing I wanted to walk through is the seed file. And it's in the blog, but I'll just show it quickly here. I created a seed file because of all this data that's moving around here. I wanted to be able to quickly load it and check it out, verify it, and I had a lot of fun doing this. So in this seeds file, I have the actual data and keys for each of my models. So here's my diets, foods, groups, meals, and in each of them has all the keys that go with creating an instance of that model. Users, logs, meal names, celebs, verbs, adjectives, phrases, quotes, quote keys. Then I have methods that create all those. And I scooped this out of one of the earlier labs and edited it for my own use. So can't take full credit for this, but what's nice about this is you can, if you wanted to add another column to your quotes model, for example, you could do it here and without too much craziness, edit this data. And this method will iterate over that data to create you a new model of diet for whatever you did. Same for foods, groups, all the other different ones. So then I call each of these methods from this master method here, and it makes them all. The only other trick is that if a user, for example, requires a diet ID, you better make sure you make the diets before you make the users. So as I work this application, I'll do it right now. We'll go over here and close the server, and we'll go Rails. Since we're on Rails 5, we can say Rails DB drop, and we'll drop our database. Then Rails DB migrate. And another way to just make sure that you haven't, edited something wrong or gotten too far ahead of yourself. And Rails DB seed. And once that finishes, now we can go Rails S, Rails server. And we've repopulated our whole database. So that was really useful to have meaningful data that I could use as I tested my application. So now that we've restarted it, we'll head back home, sign in, and we know some of the names of the users. And there's all my stuff. So just to make sure, I go through and make sure all my foods, food groups, diets, users, just by default from the table or from the seed file are all there. So that's it. Thanks for watching.